You know that voice in your head? The one that tells you, "Don't even try, you're not ready," or "You're going to mess this up anyway." Imagine listening to it and later realizing it was completely wrong. Not slightly off, completely wrong. Here's the truth most people never stop to question. What if the voice you trust the most is actually the least reliable narrator in your life? We're taught to believe that our inner voice is there to guide us, protect us, and keep us safe. And sometimes it does. But just because that voice feels automatic doesn't mean it's accurate. In fact, a lot of the time, it's quietly shaping a version of reality that limits you, convincing you you're not capable, not ready, or not enough. And that's where the real problem begins. Because when your inner critic takes the wheel, it doesn't just stay in your head, it starts to control your actions. You hesitate when opportunities show up. You overthink simple decisions. You talk yourself out of things you actually want. You convince yourself to stay small, stay quiet, and stay safe. Not because you truly can't do something, but because a voice told you that you couldn't. Think about how many chances you've second-guessed. How many times you didn't speak up, didn't apply, didn't try, just because of that voice. That's not intuition. That's self-sabotage wearing a very convincing disguise. Just a quick reminder, if you like learning new things, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you enjoy this content. So why does this happen? Why is your inner voice so often negative, or just plain wrong? A big reason is your past. Your brain is constantly trying to predict outcomes based on previous experiences. If you failed once, got criticized, or felt embarrassed, your mind stores that. Then later, it tries to protect you by saying, "Hey, remember last time? Let's not go through that again." The problem is, it treats old experiences like permanent truths. Another reason is societal pressure. From a young age, we're exposed to expectations, how we should look, act, succeed. Over time, those external voices become internal ones. And suddenly, the criticism you hear isn't even yours anymore. It's a collection of everything you've absorbed. And then there are cognitive biases, mental shortcuts your brain uses to make sense of the world. For example, your mind is wired to focus more on negative experiences than positive ones. So even if you've succeeded 10 times, your brain might fixate on the one time you didn't, and use that as proof that you're not capable. But here's the key question. How do you know when your inner voice is lying? It usually sounds absolute. It says things like, "You always fail," or "You're just not good at this," or "Everyone will judge you." Notice the pattern? It speaks in extremes. It assumes the worst. It leaves no room for growth, learning, or possibility. That's your signal. Because a helpful inner voice doesn't shut you down. It guides you forward. It might acknowledge fear, but it doesn't trap you in it. So what do you do when that critical voice shows up? First, you challenge it. Not by ignoring it, but by questioning it. Ask yourself, is this actually true? What evidence do I have? Have I ever succeeded at something like this before? You'll often realize that the voice is making claims without real proof. Second, you reframe it. Instead of, "I'm going to fail," shift it to, "I might struggle, but I can figure this out." That's not fake positivity. It's realistic empowerment. It keeps you grounded while still moving you forward. Third, separate yourself from the voice. This is huge. Just because a thought appears in your mind doesn't mean it defines you. You are not your thoughts. You're the one observing them. When you create that space, the voice loses its authority. And finally, practice self-compassion. Most people talk to themselves in ways they would never talk to someone else. If your friend was struggling, you wouldn't say, "You're terrible, just give up." You'd encourage them. You'd remind them of their strengths. You deserve that same energy from yourself. Here's the shift that changes everything. Your inner voice is not a fixed truth. It's a pattern. And patterns can be changed. The more you challenge it, the more you reshape it. The more you question it, the weaker it becomes. And over time, that same voice that once held you back can actually start supporting you. Imagine that. Instead of hearing, "you can't," you start hearing, "you've handled worse." Instead of, "you're not ready," you hear, "you'll figure it out." Instead of, "don't try," you hear, "why not?" That's when things start to change, not just in your mind, but in your life. Because when you stop blindly believing your inner critic, you start making decisions based on possibility instead of fear. You take action more often. You recover faster from setbacks. And you begin to see yourself more clearly, not through the lens of doubt, but through reality. So here's the takeaway. Your inner critic isn't always right. In fact, a lot of the time, it's completely wrong. And the moment you start questioning it is the moment you take your power back. Think of a time when your inner voice told you something that turned out to be false. What happened? And what did you do about it? And if you want more content like this, tools to take control of your mindset, build confidence, and stop holding yourself back, make sure you subscribe and stick around. Because the voice in your head, it's not the boss of you anymore. If you found this video meaningful and interesting, drop a comment below and share your experience. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might find this content useful. And as always, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.